Welcome back. Advocates say extreme heat is quickly becoming one of the deadliest threats for workers all across the country, especially in states like our own, where we see stretches of triple-digit heat for weeks, sometimes months on end. A new report from the Groundwork Collaborative examines how heat is impacting American workers, the push for federal safety standards, and why some advocates say current protections are just falling short. Adam Dean is an associate professor of political science at George Washington University. He's one of the authors behind the report. He's joining us now with more. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Talk to us about the report. First and foremost, you guys say that extreme heat is quickly becoming one of the most dangerous workplace hazards. What is driving that right now?
Well, everybody knows that extreme heat and weather are increasing. And 2024 was the hottest year on record around the world. And extreme heat is especially dangerous for outdoor workers in industries like agriculture and construction, where people are working all day long in the hot sun. The extreme heat not only can be a direct cause of heat stroke and death, but also impairs judgment and leads to an increase in injuries on at the workplace.
And so when we think about the number of people who are dying tied to extreme heat, you guys have some of the latest numbers on that. Share them with us.
Yeah, it's getting increasingly and rapidly worse. So from 2019 to 2024, heat-related deaths amongst outdoor workers increased by 97% in the United States. That's basically doubling in just 5 years.
Yeah. And how many people, though, are we talking about?
Thousands of people die from heat-related causes, and many of them outdoor workers. It's very hard to say the exact number because a lot of workplace injuries and deaths go unreported.
Right. And of course, if it's something like heat stroke, it may not be immediate and immediately tied to it. One of the things that I find most interesting, we really want to point out, is the lack of federal standards. What protections are there right now for workers who are in these dangerous temperatures?
Yeah, so the good news is that we can protect outdoor workers with really simple and cost-effective measures, like providing workers with water, rest, and shade. And these kinds of protections exist in some places. The state of California pioneered these protections back in 2005 when they passed the first state-level heat standard in the United States.
Yeah, Texas is not like California in this effort, right? We had cities that had ordinances that required things like water breaks, but here recently the state legislature passed a law basically banning local governments from setting those types of rules for requiring things like water breaks in the shade. Talk to us about the impact that laws like that have for those workers.
Yeah, so I can speak directly to California. So they passed this heat standard in 2005, and they, took a little time to get the regulations right. They had to close some loopholes and increase enforcement. But ultimately, we found that the heat standard in California seems to have reduced deaths for outdoor workers between 1/3 and 1/2. So really massive decreases in heat-related deaths for outdoor workers in California compared to the neighboring states that didn't have those kinds of protections. So we're talking about really large impacts.
Are you seeing any, desire from state legislatures in other states to adopt some of the policies that California put in place?
Yeah, so since 2022, 5 different states have implemented these heat standards, and we're waiting to hear from the federal government whether or not they'll have a federal heat rule or not soon. This started under the Biden administration, and the process has currently been stalled by the Trump administration.
Something you'll continue to watch. Professor Adam Dean with the Groundwork Collaborative, we thank you again for your time today.
Thank you very much.